Hi everyone, this week is Paranormal week, and for me I thought rather than trying to film a video like out and about, which wouldn't happen because I am a wuss, I decided that I would talk about paranormal experiences that myself and my family have had instead. I'm just going to talk about three. Me, my mum and my dad, that have all happened in our home. So let's get started. So with me, I've got notes to try and remember everything, but it happened a few years ago and me and my brother were sat in the kitchen. So I have a little drawing to show you which shows you like the layout of downstairs and the layout of the kitchen, so you can get an idea. So this is my drawing of downstairs. The front door is here, and when you come through the front door you have the lounge door right next to you, and then if you carry on round here you get to the kitchen door, and the back door is like pretty much opposite the lounge door, and then the stairs, you go up the stairs from by the back door. So that's the like downstairs plan, and then this is what the kitchen kind of looks like. So you've got the door here, yeah, and then there's a like storage cupboard next to it, or a parlour or whatever you call it. The table is here with the fridge and the freezer here, and the TV was on top of the fridge, I think. There's all work surfaces around the edge, and me and my brother were sat here, so I was here looking, when I was speaking to my brother I was looking towards the door and he was looking towards the work surfaces. So yeah, that might help a bit more. But we were sat playing the PlayStation in the kitchen because at the time that's where it was kept, not in our bedrooms. And so, like I said, I'm sat here, my brother's sat here, so I'm looking towards the door. I turn to him to say something, and out of the corner of my eye I catch a figure like walk past the kitchen door, and it wasn't my parents because I was just kind of like, whoa. It came from the lounge door, so it came from like the lounge door here and walked past the kitchen door to like the back door area. I did that the wrong way around, you know what I mean. And then I said to my brother, someone's just walked past, and it wasn't mum or dad, and we like shut up and went running out looking, thinking there's someone in the house. We looked out in the back garden, nothing. We looked in the lounge, my parents were sat there oblivious. We went upstairs, there was no one. We were like, what the hell was that? It freaked the hell out of us. Like, my brother doesn't remember it too well because he was a lot younger, but I remember it really well because I saw it. The second, and I might add, it was a male figure, definitely. It wasn't a female, it was too, like, how do you describe it? Like, the body features were too manly to be a woman. So yeah. After that, a few years later, this was actually this year, my dad had an experience. It was the middle of the night in our lounge. I haven't got a drawing, but like if I show you on here, the lounge door is here, and then the table, kitchen table's now back here. We've moved it into the lounge, and so from say this corner, my dad was lying here. He heard footsteps come towards the chair, which was the middle of the night, so no one should have been in there. It didn't come from the door, it was coming from the corner, so it was like as if someone had been sitting there the whole time, but there wasn't. And the corner that it actually came from was the coldest part of the house. No matter what time of year, that corner's always cold. So in the darkness, he heard these footsteps, of like there's someone walking towards me. Panicked, tried to turn and look and focus his eyes in the dark, and he could see an old man with a beard looking down, and he didn't look happy at all. Like, it was as if my dad was intruding in this guy's place, but it's our house. And he got up to turn the light on because it scared the hell out of him, and there was no one there. It just vanished. And you know, that's like the fact that and then the phone kept ringing but there was no one on the end of it. It's really creepy. all in one night. And then most recently, so again, male figure, most recently my mum was in the garage tidying it, because our garage is always a mess, and she heard male voices at the back of the garage or behind the garage, she wasn't sure, and just thought it was my brother and my dad and ignored it. But then she was listening again and she's like, that's not them, it doesn't sound like them. So she came out and looked down the back of the garage because we've got a gap, and then she looked on the corner because we live on a corner, so there's all grass on the side, so people very often stand there and chat, but there was no one there. She looked in the back garden, no one. Went back into the garage thinking, it doesn't matter, it's probably just someone and they've disappeared now, you know. And it heard it again, so she went back into the house this time to see where my dad and my brother were. My dad was sat on his laptop, my brother was upstairs on his PlayStation, and had been for ages. And she asked my dad if he'd been outside and he said no, and she was like, okay. So she suddenly realised then it's not my mum, like my dad and my brother, there's no one in the garage with her, but she can hear these voices. So she went back in again and carried on, and she was at the front of the garage now, and at the back on the back wall she heard, I think she said 2 knocks, I can't remember exactly, but she heard knocks on the wall, no one in there, no one behind it, nowhere, anywhere. Again, she checked and she has no idea who it was, why, you know, but she heard these male voices, and then there was a knock on the wall. I'm going to kind of give you a bit of background on the house. The house many years ago in the war was just land, it wasn't there, and it was like barrage balloons were there to protect the Land Rover, which was making like guns and all that type of things. Our house was built in the 50s, and an old couple lived there until, when did we move in, like 10 years ago, when they passed away, apparently in hospital, not in the house, we were told this by the neighbours, but yeah, and ever since my encounter I'm convinced there is someone or something in the house, like just little things, and we do think it is the guy that used to live in the house, because it's an elderly man that we've seen, like not a young man, and the guy was old. We want to actually find out if he had a beard, because I didn't see it exactly, my mum didn't see a figure, she just heard it, but my dad saw a guy with a beard, and we really want to know if this guy had a beard. But yeah, he had a wife as well, but no one's ever had experiences with a woman. But we do think it could be like territorial, like he lived in that house for years and it's kind of like his safe place. Also, when we ask our dog where Harry is, which is what the guy's name is, and the guy who used to live in the house, she looks at the corner my dad heard the footsteps from, and is the coldest part of the house. And sometimes she looks in other places, but generally she does look in that corner, and we haven't told her to look there. She does it on her own, and you know, people do say dogs can sense things, and my dog just sometimes has very weird behaviour, I suppose, I don't know. But yeah, so that's our paranormal experiences in our home. Honestly, I don't mind the fact that there could potentially be a ghost in our house, as long as it stays like it is. My dad's experience was quite freaky, but in general, if it stays just like, you know, coinciding, I wouldn't mind. But if it we obviously don't want like poltergeists or whatever. Yeah. So if you have any paranormal experiences that you've had, leave them down below and I will read them. I'm really interested in all this type of thing now that it's since it happened to me. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.